Welcome back to PRM Network. I'm Clint Thomas, and we've got an incredible show packed with action across the country. John Bolen delivers a thrilling last race charge to upset the points leader at Mobile International Speedway. The Kulwicki Driver Development Program sees its tightest championship battle ever with a major update on the competitors. We'll take you around the country with a multi-track roundup, including dominant performances, historic achievements, plus Bowman Gray Stadium delivers 2 weeks of unforgettable drama, including family feuds and record-breaking milestones. All that and more coming up on PRM Network. This episode is proudly brought to you by Black Dust with Liquid Absorbent, the ultimate solution for keeping raceways safe and fast. Got oil in the track? No problem. Black Dust works instantly to absorb any loose liquid, whether it's oil, fuel, coolant, water, and it turns into dry, and you're able to use a track blower and blow it off the track. No mess, no delay, just fast, effective cleanup. That keeps the action going. Trusted by pros, built for speed. Black Dust keeps your race on the track. We begin tonight with one of the most exciting finishes of the season at Mobile International Speedway in Alabama, where John Bolen pulled off a stunning late race comeback to defeat points leader Dustin Smith in the Rogers Dab Performance Challenge. This wasn't just an ordinary race. Bolen and Smith entered the 75-lap feature, sitting first and second in the point standings, making this battle between the top two drivers an instant classic. Smith, racing his home track, looked at every event under control when he took command on lap 51. But Bolen, the North Carolina veteran, had other plans. Slowly but surely, he began reeling in the leader, setting up a finish that had the Mobile crowd on their feet. With just 2 laps remaining, Bolen made his move. He pulled off alongside Smith, entering turn 3 and completed the pass cleanly. No contact, just pure racing skill. The victory marked Bolen's second Rogers Dab Challenge win of 2025 and his third pro late model victory of the year. The respect between these two competitors was evident as they embraced in victory lane after the race. Smith showed his class in defeat, praising Bolen's drive and acknowledging his simple, got beat by the better car at the end. The top 5 were Bolen, Smith, Davidson, Robinson, and Langham. And in exciting news for Mobile International Speedway, the UARA National Super Late Models have added the Alabama facility to their 2025 schedule. The 125-lap Super Late Model contest is set for October the 4th, and will also feature Mobile's Pro Truck and Crown Vic divisions. Now we turn to one of the motorsports' most inspiring programs, the Kulwicki Driver Development Program, which honors the memory of 1992 NASCAR Cup champion Alan Kulwicki. This year in the program, we have the closest championship battle in almost a 10-year history. 5 young drivers are separated by just 24 points heading into the second segment. Leading them by the standardest of narrow margins is Wisconsin native Bryce Miller, who holds a 9.4 advantage over Derek Luchacki. Miller has embraced the Kulwicki legacy, focusing on the underdog mentality. In a creative tribute, he photographed himself reading a NASCAR Cup Scene magazine while wearing a Kulwicki championship cap and shared it on social media. Just behind Miller is Derek of Massachusetts, who's combined racing with entrepreneurship, launching a business setting up late models at Thompson Speedway. But Derek just scored a crucial victory that could shake up the battle. He outdueled veteran DJ Shaw to win the Spring Green 125 at Sonoit Speedway in Milton Cat Act Tour late model. After a rough start to the season, Luchacki and his team thrashed to get their backup car ready, and it turned out to be the winning machine. Derek's community involvement in the equally impressive, including donating money to every child at the Providence Elementary who could not afford a book at the book fair. Sitting third is Georgia's Seth Christensen, Mr. Versatility, who drove for the third different team in 7 races across 5 tracks in 4 states, producing 1 victory, 4 top 5s, and 5 top 10s while balancing dual enrollment at Speed U at Lanier Technical College. On the PRM Network this week, we've had a couple of issues with modified racing and racetracks in the May and June of 2025 races. We've had 2 events, one at North Wilkesboro Speedway, that they had to use a lot of their quick clean or safety cleans white product. We also, just a week ago, in the 1st of June, we had an issue at Franklin County Motor Speedway with the modifieds, and they had a couple blown engines and other issues. They ended up using all their standard oil dry, and they ended up having to revert to some old school ways, but they were able to get the race in. One of the things that we used to use at Hank Thomas Performance back in the early 2000s was a product basically called black dust, mainly because it was black. It's a biodegradable product. In the 2000s, it sold well, but everybody lost contact within the Southeast. We have been able to come up with this product late last year in December of 24, and we're selling it as black dust oil absorbent. We'll be coming out with some hoppers soon, and hopefully it will be able to trend. We've already been selling it to drag strips currently, and we'll be able to help out the motor industry, especially with this biodegradable product. Time now for our multi-track roundup, where we've got dominant performances at historic achievements from across the racing landscape. Starting at Caraway Speedway in North Carolina, where the track has a busy stretch of racing on Wendy's Z-Max Cars Tour Firecracker 265, where Jared Fryer scored his 2nd Z-Max Car Tour victory in 2025. The late model stock car division that Fryer moved to the front after a late race incident between Minnie Terrell and Landon Lewis. Then he held off Caden Honeycutt for his 6th career late model stock victory.
Oh yeah, always plan on coming to run this race and always try to win. And luckily we've had good runs the last handful of years. It's always special to win these car tour races, but to win at Caraway, where I've got probably most of my wins at, feels even better. You know, got a lot of friends that come out here, so it's super cool and special to keep winning here. Oh, just kind of fire off there, see what our car had, and kind of just take care of it, and then just try to position myself there in the closing laps where I needed to be if I wasn't in the lead. And luckily, everything worked out right there. And you know, we kind of rode 3rd there the whole race, and then when the 2 got together, it opened her up and was able to get the lead. Yeah, you know, I don't run all the races, so I don't run the full tour. We just kind of pick and choose what races we want to go to, and so you know, we got nothing to lose. You know, we just go for wins. So. Yeah, we'll hit a couple more for the end of the year, and obviously go to Martinsville and a couple other big races.
The rest of the top 5 in the late models were Fryer, Honeycutt, McKee, Bassett Jr., and Barnes Jr. The pro late model feature saw Brandon Lopez claim his first Cars Tour victory after a wild finish, featuring multiple late restarts. Lopez inherited the lead with 3 laps to go and held off Brody Gunter, who scored an impressive runner-up finish in his 2nd ever pro late model race. The rest of the top 5 were Tyler, Walters, Ware. Caraway wrapped up their busy week with the Rusty Hart Memorial. Here, Dylan Ward put his name in the record books again with his 3rd win in the annual presented by Daggett Schuler Eternities. Ward held off a late charge from Anthony Crum in a thrilling finish with Dalton Ledbetter competing out the podium. The event honors the memorial of Rusty Hart, a Caraway regular and limited late model champion. That Memorial weekend also featured Danny Bond dominating the modified tour Revolutionary 99, leading at wheel through several restarts to beat Joey Coulter, defending Caraway champion 602 modified champion Jackson Casper, on his way to the field in the Carolina Crate modified feature. Moving on to the Race of Champions modified series, where Mike Leedy returned to victory lane at Lancaster Motorplex, winning the Old Boy Cup 9. Leedy took the lead from Patrick Emmeline on lap 15 and led the remaining 60 laps distance for the first ROC triumph since September of 2023. Max Hirschman claimed the Rocket 76er at Evans Mill Raceway Park, taking the lead from Leedy on lap 41 to hold off Austin Beers and Andy Jankowiak. The win continues a historic streak for Hirschman, who has now won at least one ROC Modified Series race at each of the past 21 seasons and given him victories across 4 different Modified Tours in 2025. Down south at Montgomery Motor Speedway in Alabama, Jeremy Williams topped the late model sportsman division over Chris Wagner and Jeffrey Campbell. Austin Reeves claimed the Crown Stock feature ahead of Chris Salter and Spencer Reynolds, while Ryan Logan took the straight stock victory over Will Smith and Dawson Parker. Back at Mobile International Speedway, the Alabama track continued its busy summer schedule with July 5th racing featuring fireworks. Timothy Watson claimed the Outlaw Division victory over Gary Goodman and Dylan Courtney. Chad Robinson scored another sportsman win, beating Chopper, Stagner, and Parker McDonald. Mason Johnson dominated the pure stock feature ahead of Connor Oldham and Nick Bowden, while Brandon Tipton took the Crown Stock feature over Jeremy Finney and Jimmy Day. And at Five Flags Speedway, Pensacola, Florida, Cole Butcher made a historic by becoming the first ever driver in the Blizzard Series history to win the opening 3 races of the season, capturing the Battle Tibbetts Lumber 100. The Nova Scotia native 6th major super late model win this year broke the previous record by 3 consecutive wins by Bubba Pollard, but never in the same calendar year. The night also saw Richie Smith dominate the Modifieds of Mayhem feature for his 7th victory of the season. Now we head to the famous Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where the Madhouse has delivered 2 weeks of unforgettable action featuring historic making moments, explosive drama, and breakthrough victories. In front of 8,000 fans will be remembered more for what happened after the checkered flag than the race itself. Brad Lewis pulled off a stunning last lap pass to defeat Kyler Stanley in the street stock feature, but the victory celebration quickly turned into an all-out brawl that required police intervention. Lewis had trailed Stanley for 19 of the 20 laps before spotting a gap and making his move just before the final turn. But in victory lane, the Lewis and Stanley families went at each other in a melee that saw Zach Stanley hurl himself into the windshield of Emily Lewis' car and ripped off her hood. Emily is Brad's daughter, who was also competing in the race. Track supervision Jimmy Brown had to pin Kyler Stanley to the ground to restore order. All 3 of these drivers had received suspensions. The night also marked a historic moment as Randy Butner officially became the all-time modified start leader with 756 career starts, breaking Junior Miller's long-standing record. The relationship between Butner and Miller goes back 40 years to when they first met at Martinsville Speedway running Grand National cars. The 65-year-old Butner, a retired Forsyth technical teacher, has been racing at the stadium for 38 years. Miller, now 74 and watching from home, was gracious about losing another record the week before Mike Speeney finally captured his first ever feature victory, the Market USA 100, after years of trying. This was the first major win at Bowman Gray. Here's what he had to say about his breakthrough.
It feels good. You know, we've been close and we've had really fast race cars, but we've had either bad luck or just a tick off. So it was good to get the monkey off the back for this year. But it's just nice to finally like exhale, say, all right, we've done it, we've been there, let's go to making the car faster.
Here's the latest standing results from Bowman Gray Stadium. Looking ahead to this weekend and beyond, we've got some major events on the horizon that race fans won't want to miss. Now take a closer look. Thank you for joining us this week with PRM Network. We enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, Patriot Relief Fund to donate for the Western North Carolina people who are still recovering in homes.
Central Texas, we're praying for you, praying that all those babies will be brought home to their families, praying that God will bring comfort to all those who've already lost loved ones. Now, as Patriot Relief knows, we just went through the front of Phase 1 and Phase 2 in Western North Carolina. Let me give y'all some tips if you're looking to know what can be sent. A wonderful thing to make sure the families in that area have is damp red. This will help get some of the moisture up out of these houses because we're in the middle of a humid, hot, wet season. You can also make sure that they have plenty of bleach on hand. Bleach is great for cleaning. You're going to need a lot of bleach. Also means you need masks and gloves, and make sure you get the kind that are good for dealing with bleach and with mold and chemicals, because it's going to get nasty really, really fast. If you're a volunteer, go down there masked and gloved up, ready to pull carpet, pull sheetrock, get these properties mucked out so we can save the houses and help the families. You can also send items like adult diapers, wipes, the incontinence supplies. Shelf-stable food is always great, protein bars, Ensure drinks, those kinds of things are helpful, because also anything not used can go to food pantries and other insecure places. Don't send fabrics, no clothing, no drapes, no bedspreads, no towels. Nothing that you think would be homey and helpful is not actually helpful when we're dealing with mold and moisture. I also want you to know that you can be helpful in sending money. I don't recommend the Red Cross. I don't recommend United Way, because they do a lot for their overhead. They're not bad organizations, but the money doesn't go to the people. There are local organizations that are taking care of the families impacted. I'll include those links with this video. And if you buy merch, just make sure you're buying it from an organization that's not grifting off the storm, but is somebody who is actively trying to help. The last thing I'll say is that if y'all know somebody in that area trying to get their own nonprofit started who wants to be a branch of Patriot Relief, reach out. We haven't started expanding into other states yet, but we are itching to be helpful everywhere possible. So reach out to us. And in the meantime, you are not forgotten, you are loved, and if you want to be helpful, please be helpful and don't get in the way, because that won't help those that are already hurting so badly.